How's it going, everybody? Thanks for stopping by my channel today. My name is Daryl, and I am in the workshop today, of course, like always. I'm at the radio bench here, and I got a little something that I picked up that I kind of want to show you. And it's something that I normally wouldn't buy, So let me turn the camera around and I'll explain my purchase. Okay, so sitting in front of you here is a new purchase of mine. My wife and I went out to some flea markets looking for something for her that she wanted. And when I was looking through all the little booths there, I came upon this little gem. And it's not something that I'd normally buy, but I decided it might make a good wintertime project for me when I'm stuck inside. So I thought I'd give you a little glimpse of it, and we'll go from there. So anyway, this is an international, it says down here, International Crystal Manufacturing model, let's see, CTX-660. And that is a 23-channel CB. Yeah, and these are quite rare, I guess, from what I've seen on the internet. These are a little bit rare. There's not a whole lot of them out there. And so I didn't know anything about this thing when I picked it up. I knew it was a CB, but I didn't know any of its history or anything like that. So it's a 23-channel AM-only CB. You can see volume squelch and a really interesting channel selector here, which is moving freely. High-low button, I assume, for the channels. See, high, low. And then a microphone connector, receive light, transmit light, and meter. And on the back here, if you can see that, we got International Crystal Systems. It's the model CTX-660 serial. I don't know, serial number, I guess, is this one. So anyway, this is it's a 10 tube, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This says 8 here, but some of the ads I saw said 10. So I see, what did I say? 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. So maybe it did say 8. I don't know. It's confusing now because I thought there was more than that. But anyway, that's what we got here. Interesting power cable here. Got a lot of different tabs, but we're only using 2. So I don't know what else would go in here. But anyway, I did take the cover loose, and I know when I found it that it smelled like barn. It smelled like it had been out in the barn for a long time. And there was most of it's all complete. There's a couple holes drilled here for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe they had something mounted, it mounted somewhere or something like that. And then there's a hole over here, if you can see it, where an adjustment tool could be put down that hole to change the power level maybe or something. But of course there's screws missing. That is my pet peeve about equipment. When people take fasteners out and then don't put them back. I don't get that mentality. But anyway, let's pull the cover off here. And as you can see inside, she's quite dirty. It looks like everything's there in the unit, but she's pretty dirty. And I'm not going to put any power to it like this. So what we'll do this winter is we'll take this thing apart and we'll go through it and clean it up and change out any components that seem to be bad and see what I can do for it. It's not going to be easy because I was unable to find any kind of schematic diagram for this or manual for this online, not even in PDF form. There's nothing on the bottom. Sometimes manufacturers will put the schematic on the bottom or the back or something, but there isn't. So I'm going to have to rely on a couple of people that had videos online to maybe give me a little information on that. Maybe they got the schematics. I don't know. If somebody comes across this video and has any information on these, let me know. I mean, I'm old, but this is manufactured in 1962. That's a year before my birth. So there might be somebody older than me out there that's got some information, or maybe used one of these things, that can give me some help restoring this one. I'm not a CB'er. I haven't been on CB since, I think probably would be the 80s, early 80s. When I was a kid, my dad bought me he bought a CB for his car, and then at some point he bought me one, and I put it in my bedroom, and he put an antenna tower. We had an antenna tower, so he put an antenna up for that, and him and I used to talk to each other on his way going to and from work. So that's what kind of got me into ham radio, is all that kind of stuff, the scanners and the radio, the CB radio. So maybe the end of 79, maybe. Somewhere around that, 79, 80, I would have gotten my driver's license. And I never put a CB in the car. I don't know why. But that probably was the end of my CB career. But I thought, well, I'll get this thing running and see if I can get it running. And if so, I either put it up on the shelf somewhere where I can operate it every now and then, or maybe pass it along to a CB'er who would be more interested in it than me, more excited about having it. But I'm not unexcited about having it. I'm more excited about the refurbishment of it than anything else. So yeah. So what do you think about that? So let's move over to the computer, and I'll show you a little information that I found on this old CB. Okay, we're in front of my computer here, and I searched the internet over trying to find a schematic or a manual for this thing. Like I said, I haven't had any luck with that. I found some photos of it and a couple of videos online, but I haven't really found any information as how anybody repaired these, or any information as far as, like I said, any kind of schematic diagram or anything like that. And I did get the date of it, 1962. It was manufactured. This one was manufactured. So anyway, here it is over here, and it's the model 660. And you can see this, they got a block diagram on here, and I tried to blow it up, but the quality isn't good enough for me to see. And it just tells you a little bit about the unit here, and it transmits 65 watts. Let's see, audio output 2.5 watts. Okay, into a 4 to 6 ohm speaker, which I didn't see a speaker in there, so there is a separate speaker that you can buy with it. I assume. Oh, I take that back. This here is the speaker. So there is a speaker, but there is a separate speaker that you can buy with it that has a meter in it. And but I thought I would point out a few things while we're looking at this page. And one of the things that is interesting to me is this is just a 23 channel radio. Okay, so there's no 40 channel back then. There's no FM back then in a CB like this. So a guy would buy this thing and take it home, and or you put it in your car and operate it. And of course it's tubed, so if you had it in your vehicle, you could hit a bump or something like that and knock a tube loose. This stuff like that, you would have to learn how to maintain your radio, because that's what you did back then. So you learned how to maintain these radios themselves, and that's kind of the fun of getting a radio like this. It kind of takes you back into that time when that was the normal thing that ham radio operators did. They built their own equipment, or they bought something expensive like this, and they learned to maintain it themselves. So and one of the things that I did is was talking about buying an expensive thing like this. And you look down here at the price, it was $265 back in 1962. All right, so $265 back in 1962 was a lot of money. I was born in 63, and I remember what as I grew up, I could remember what prices were back in the, well, it'd be like the early or late 60s to early, 70s when I was a kid. I remember what things cost. So you think, well, $265, it's doable by somebody, all right? Well, let's look at the inflation calculator for that, okay? So 1962, we're in 2025 now, $265 was equal to $2,820 back then. So imagine spending that on a radio back then. We're talking about if you were a CB'er or a ham radio operator back then, that is a giant chunk of money. And we complain about, well, I don't complain about what radios cost now, because look at this, look what the price, would have been back there for someone. That's a huge hunk of money to put down on a radio. So when you're complaining about what radios cost, maybe you shouldn't, because, this radio here, the D75, I paid, what was it, $750 for it. I bought back in 1991 when the ICOM IC W2A came out. It was a dual band handheld. I had some friends going to Hamvention, and I gave them the money, and they picked one up for me, $530, okay, for a dual band radio. There's no APRS in radios back then. There's no GPS. None of those features that you get, well, a lot of those features that you get in a handheld, a high-end handheld now, were not even, anything that you would have even expected to see in a radio back then. So more bang for the buck for an extra 200 and something bucks for the radios now. So I do not complain about that kind of stuff. Yeah, we all wish that they were a lot cheaper, but after all these years, I mean, let's see, I don't know if this will work out for me, but if I put 1991 and I put the price in, $530, $530, that's, 1,200 and, is that right? $1,250, what it would have been like for me to buy that back then. It was a huge expense when I bought that radio. I had a house. I was living by myself. I had my son, and there was a huge expense to buy that radio, and I used it a lot. And so think about that when you go out and buy these things, what they would have cost somebody way back then. So, we're getting off on a tangent, but anyway, so let's look at what else I found on this. Let's see. That was the ad. This was kind of cool. You could buy this little remote to go in your car. You can see down here where they have it mounted under the dash, and that would plug into the back of the radio, and that's probably why that power connector's got so many tabs on it, is because you could fit this thing into that radio and put the radio in the trunk, and then put this thing in the car. So it's pretty neat. It was 9 channels that you could have, and then this one here only had a single channel. So look at the price on those. So yeah, that was pretty neat. You could connect that thing up and go remote head on that. Way back in 1962, they were thinking about that. You plug your microphone in there. So they're pretty neat, huh? That's pretty cool. All right, and let's go look at something else. This was the remote speaker for it you could have. And so it got the remote speaker, and then it had a meter there for you. So pretty cool. And I'll show you a picture of the back of that. And that's the back of it. So awesome. I wasn't able to find that. I'd like to have had the whole kit, the matching remote speaker, the microphone, and that remote head. Wouldn't it be cool to have that? Just to have that whole set. But pretty cool, that little thing. So even back then, guys wanted to have their radios remoted. So yeah. So they had other models too. Looks like the The thing that we're missing on ours is this little decal here. We're missing off that thing. But other than that, I think the whole radio is complete. So see, they had other models of radios, and they had different things you could buy. So pretty cool. Let's go through this whole thing. This is a whole the whole thing. Oh, look at that. See, they had a schematic for that thing. Come on. If I could only find an ad that had this, it'd be awesome. It's got to be out there somewhere. But no. So they had a whole bunch of stuff for sale back then. And they went out of business, I think, in 2017. And let's see what else I got up here. I got a little bit of information. This is a really good article in the Oklahoman of the owner of International Crystal Manufacturing when they decided to go out of business. And so they wrote up an article about, you know, everything, how the business started. And I haven't read the whole thing yet. I started reading it, and I decided to do the video before the day was over. But yeah, so they talk about the business and, you know, what they're going to do with the building, or what they did with the building after he sold it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So this is the guy, his father started that business way back. So pretty neat. And he, this building that they're in used to be, if you can see down here, used to be a vault that held movie films back in the for 20th Century Fox and MGM way back. So I guess I'm thinking, if I remember right, they took these old, you know, like black and white films and stuff like that they made, and as they moved around the country, this was like a distribution center for them to send to the theaters. So they had a big vaults inside there that held all those. So pretty cool. So that's a really neat article there. If you just search this Oklahoman for this this article here, it's pretty cool. And it was this was updated in May 15th, 2015. So I'm pretty sure that's when that got sold. Yeah. So a lot of information out there of some sorts. I mean, I assume this man is still alive, and I'm not sure if he's a ham radio operator. So if anybody knows anything about him, let me know. That's his name right here, Royden Freeland Jr. So I guess I could go on QRZ and do a check for that name and see if it comes up. But a lot of times, if you can find someone like that who's still alive, you can maybe get some information from this equipment. He probably has a whole bunch of this stuff sitting around that if he's still alive, sitting around that he doesn't use. He didn't want to part with. He might have a brand new one of these radios that have never been used. So anyway, I thought that was some interesting information there, and so pretty neat. Okay, well, that's the exciting reveal for today. And what do you think about that old CB? Would you take the time to refurbish it and get it running again? Or would you just use the parts for something else? Use maybe the cabinet for something else? Man, I saw that thing, and I did see it, and I went around the rest of the little flea market building and thought about it. Is that something I want to get into doing with my time? I do like the fact that maybe I can get something old like that running again. And yeah, I think it'll be fun. I think once we get into it and start taking things apart and cleaning it up and making a difference in it, I think we can give that thing a new life again. And even if I don't use it every day, just knowing that it's been refurbished and ready to go would be kind of cool. And maybe every once in a while put it on the air. That'd be kind of neat. But maybe it will be a whole new venture for me, you know, as far as redoing these old radios. I just like the old stuff. I mean, you see on this channel, I have almost everything I work on is old. And at one time, it's just not that it's old. At one time, it was state of the art. And guys and ladies would get these things, and they would be so excited to have them because they're state of the art, and they were enjoying the hobby. And maybe like the Max Tracks, they were in a bus or in a police car, in a fire vehicle, you know, fire truck or an ambulance or something like that. And they have a lot of stories behind them when you get them. You don't know what they are, but they have a lot of stories behind them. And it's so cool to be able to take this old CB, like, whose CB was this? And was it replaced by something newer and just got thrown in a shed somewhere, or maybe in a basement? Was that how bad their basement was? I don't know. But there's so many stories behind these radios that you get. Even the newer ones, like when you buy them from somebody, they all have a story as to why they bought them, what they used them for. And it's so neat to think that, you know, somebody bought this radio before I was even born and used it and spent all that money on it. I mean, $2,800 was a lot of money back then in 1962. My parents bought the house I grew up in 1968. And I have the original paperwork for that house. It was a 3-bedroom ranch. And they paid $30,000 for that house back then. So now my mom still lives in it. And it's probably well over $200,000, you know, worth well over $200,000 now. So just think about when you go out and buy a radio now, how much you're paying for it to how much someone paid for that. You know, would you have paid $2,800 for a CB now? Probably not, right? But someone did, and they did it because it was something cool, you know, something new, a step forward in the evolution of electronics and just how people lived, you know. There was no CB, and now there's CB, and now look where we're going. Now we have cell phones and, you know, all this kind of tech, these cameras that I'm using, the microphones, all this kind of stuff that we have now. And, you know, another 100 years ago, from now, people are going to look back at this and say, man, that was primitive. And what's the story behind this this radio here, you know? That this guy spent $750 on it back in what was it? Did I buy it this year? Yeah. Let's see. Did I buy it this? I think I did buy it this year. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so it's like, yeah, I spent $530 for a ICOM IC W2A back in 1991. That was a lot of money for me, I'm telling you. That was a house payment. My house payment was that much. So yeah, that was a lot of money back then. So anyway, that's about all I got for you today. I hope that was a little bit interesting. And we'll get back on this one. I got these repeaters. We're still working on that. I got some other building things that is coming up. I got some woodworking I'm going to start doing. And I got a whole bunch of different projects for ham radio that I'm going to do this year. I'm going to finish the grounding system for my tower. And I have a really big other project that I want to start this year. And I'll reveal that when I get ready to do it. And yeah, some purchases to make and things like that. So yeah, so anyway, thanks for being here today, and thank you very much for subscribing. I appreciate it. There's so many ham radio channels out there that are very interesting, and you know, I don't know how interesting mine is, but I hope you get something out of it. I hope you you know, enjoy the time that you spend watching it, and try to watch them through. That would be nice. I see a lot of them dump off about halfway, so it's like I don't know if I'm if I'm making something interesting for people or not. I don't spend a whole lot of time making the videos because I have a lot of other things that I do, but I do enjoy making them. So, and I do enjoy working on the radios too. And I'm getting more and more into it. I didn't think that I thought I was just going to be sitting behind a desk as a ham radio operator, not behind a bench. But I do enjoy it. I do like working on the old stuff and trying to figure out, like, I'm going to have to go back. If I can't find a schematic for this radio, I'm going to have to go back and go through it myself and make my own. So that might be an interesting little adventure for me. But thanks for being here today. We'll catch you on the next one, and take care.